Hi you guys, welcome to my channel if you're new, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie and I'm a wedding photographer here in the lovely state of North Carolina. It is a very dreary and rainy day today in North Carolina, and I actually already filmed this entire video earlier today. I took basically my whole lunch break to get ready, set everything up, film it, and the audio didn't work. So that was really fun. I was really cozy on my bed when I filmed it, and yeah, none of the audio worked. So we're starting over today, and that's just how it is on this dreary day in North Carolina. So today I wanted to talk about kind of how to be an amazing photographer. I think that's a really simplified form or version of what I'm trying to talk about today. Being an amazing photographer goes beyond the kinds of photos that you take. Of course, yes, 100% you need to know your camera. You need to know how to shoot in manual mode. I have a video on that on my channel. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out, that's fine. There's tons of other resources on YouTube. You need to know your camera. You need to know how to shoot in manual. You also need to know how to pose your couples or your families or your individuals because you are a portrait photographer. You need to know your posing, you need to know lighting and locations and editing. Yes, all of this I don't think is a secret. You need to know all of that stuff, and you need to kind of come up with your style, how you do it in order to be a good photographer. Of course, like that is a huge part of it. But to me, there's this whole other side that is often not talked about that is just as important, if not more important. But yes, in order to be an amazing photographer, you need to know how to take amazing photos. In my opinion, you could be the best technical photographer, like know your camera, know how to pose, know how to edit. You could take beautiful photos, but if you don't have this other piece, I really think you're missing out on a lot. The most important thing that you need to know in order to be an amazing wedding photographer is make people feel good about themselves and their experience with you. That's all I have to say about that. So paired with the technical knowledge, who you are, and the experience you give your clients is what's going to take you to the next level. I would also like to note that everything in this video is my own personal opinion and experience, and it's okay if we have different opinions on different things. And everything mentioned in this video is for education and learning purposes only. So I want to get into why the experience matters. Why is that so important that I would say just as important as the technical skills it takes to be a photographer? And I want to list a few reasons why. So the first I would say is emotion is tied to photos. So if you're a parent, for example, and you have a photo of your kids laughing and it was a really nice moment and you pulled out a camera or your phone and snapped it, you're gonna look at that photo and feel happiness because of the emotion that's tied with the moment that was captured. And it doesn't matter if that photo is like technically a good photo. Like that photo could be with a professional camera or an iPhone or terrible lighting or perfect lighting. You're still gonna really enjoy that photo because of the emotion and the memory of that moment that's tied to the photo, if that makes sense. So we kind of tie our experiences and our emotions in our photos. So you remember how you felt when a photo was taken. So if somebody took a photo of me and I did not feel that great, I would remember that every time I saw that photo. If you go and ever do a couple session with your significant other and you're fighting that day, you're gonna remember that when you look at those photos. That also goes if you feel self-conscious or awkward during the photo session, it might come out in how you view the photos. You might associate the photos as feeling awkward or self-conscious. And another reason why having a really amazing experience for your clients and couples is important is because if people don't have a good experience, they won't recommend you to other people. I know people love recommending things and places that they love. Your photos might be beautiful, but if you did not give your client a wonderful experience, that could be what they remember from it. I think the best example that I can give is like eating in a really nice restaurant and the food is amazing, but the customer service or the waiter and that whole experience eating there was really awkward or tense and it made you really uncomfortable. It doesn't really matter how good the food is. You're probably not going to recommend it to other people, or you might not even go back there to eat. I kind of view it similar to photography. So your photos can be beautiful, but if it was a really awkward or tense situation and experience, people may not recommend you and they may not come back to you for future sessions. I want to get into how to create a really great experience for your clients or your couples. These are kind of things that I do. So the first way is to be friendly and outgoing. I'm looking at you, my introverted friends. This one was really difficult for me because I am an introvert. Like, I hear you. I'm an introvert. I'm not really good at small talk. I'm nice, I'm friendly, but yes, I like to be alone and at home and I recharge by myself. And being assertive was very, very difficult for me for a really long time. But it took me a while to get to the point where I am today. And I feel very confident going into wedding days and engagement sessions, bridal sessions. I feel very confident that at least I can give them good conversation and I can be friendly and we joke around. I just have to kind of get over my shyness. And I'm saying that as something that's not easy. Like, I feel you, it's not easy, but if you want to be successful and you want to be a very friendly, happy, good experience photographer, you have to get over this part. You have to make yourself be outgoing and overly friendly. And it's hard. And I'm saying that because I know it is very difficult. I would say practice. Practice in your everyday life. Talk to people at the grocery store. Like, strike up a genuine conversation with them. If you're in line at Starbucks, talk to the barista. I don't know. Just talk to people in your daily life. Really push yourself outside your comfort zone. And I promise it will get better. It will get easier because it is a lot easier for me now than it ever has been before. Another way to give your clients and couples a really great experience is to know your poses beforehand. I think that's where the lack of confidence really comes from as photographers. We don't know how to pose people. That's what I usually worry about going into sessions. But luckily, I have my go-to poses, especially for my couples. I did a whole video, like my top 10 wedding poses that I do with couples. I think we're getting another Amazon package. They're barking. It's fine. They're keeping us safe. They're keeping us safe from the Amazon people. We are safe. We have 3 alarm systems. And their names Murphy, Denali, and Lucy. Okay, back to the video, I guess. Okay, I forget where we left off, but I do have my top 10 wedding poses that I use for my couples. It translates to wedding days or to engagement sessions. Again, I will link that down below for you to check out. There's also so many wonderful photographers here on YouTube that have posing videos, how to pose people. So just honestly, type it into YouTube, you'll find something. But know some go-to poses going into the session, like beforehand, because then that'll help the whole experience kind of flow a little bit better. And that goes for anything, weddings, families, seniors, any kind of photo session. You want to know how to pose people beforehand because you don't want that kind of awkward moment of like, I don't know how or what to do, like, I don't know, what pose should we do now? Like, it's really weird and awkward and you don't want that in your experience. What I recommend doing is, yes, having photos or poses that you have beforehand, but also get like a Pinterest board of family photos with babies or adult children or whatever, or bride and groom poses or engagement photos, and get Pinterest boards of those and you can pull it up and look and choose a pose and let's do that one. That helps as well. So if you're worried about forgetting a pose or maybe you need some inspiration, just go ahead and make a Pinterest board and bring it up. Like, take your phone out and look at the Pinterest board during the session. I've done this. I've seen other photographers do this. Okay, this next way to have a really great experience, in my opinion, is one of the most important things that I wanted to touch on, and is that our words matter. Your words matter so much in photo sessions, and you have to be very conscious and aware of how you're phrasing things, because how you phrase something could either positively or negatively impact your couple and their experience with you. And this is because of the point I made earlier. Photos have emotion tied to them. So if you say something that could be insulting or offensive, or really just make the person feel self-conscious about something, they're going to remember that when you deliver their photos. I want every single one of my couples or clients to feel confident and beautiful behind the camera. I want them to think that they are all that in the bag of chips. I genuinely want that for them. I make sure to say that, and I choose my words very, very carefully. So I want to tell a quick story about a time where I saw words used in a way that did not help the experience. So everything's going to be anonymous. This is just for education and learning purposes. I'm really not trying to bash anybody. So I was second shooting with this photographer, and the bride of this wedding was actually pregnant. Now, this bride was not 9 months pregnant, but she was a little bit pregnant. Pregnant enough where she could not put her shoes on. She couldn't bend over to put her shoes on, which is completely understandable because pregnant. If you're pregnant, you don't have to do anything, in my opinion. You should be able to sit down and people just do things for you. This photographer really wanted to get that shoe fixing shot. I will put a picture of what I mean in here. It's kind of a standard photo that you get when getting ready. But because this bride was pregnant, she could not reach down to her shoes. She couldn't put her shoes on, right? Because pregnant. And this photographer was not letting up. Oh, no, do it this way. No, do that way. You're doing it wrong. And this bride is doing her best, trying to listen to what the photographer is saying. And the photographer then said, "You're worse than my 7-year-old. And I don't know if this photographer meant you're worse than my 7-year-old with listening to instruction or posing or whatever. And I think it was meant completely as a joke, but you could see the bride's face just was deflated and defeated, and you can just tell she did not want to do this pose anymore. I felt it in my heart that she did not want to do this pose anymore, and it's because of how the photographer went about posing and also just how they said what they did. I certainly would not recommend saying, "No, not like that. No, you're doing it wrong. No, that's wrong." That's a way our words can just negatively impact that whole experience. As I'm talking with other photographer friends, I actually met up with one of my friends and we did a photo session, a photo swap with each other. And when we're posing each other, we're like, "No, don't do that, do this." And it's funny, and we were joking about it because we would never tell a client that. We would say, if you wanted them to try with their hand on their hip, be like, "Okay, put your hand on your hip." You would never say, "Oh no, now try this." We would say, "Okay, great, now let's try with your hand in your lap." It's how you phrase things. I try to take all the negative words out of my vocabulary during the session, so I don't say, "No, not like that," or "that looks weird." I try to take all of that out of my way of thinking, but instead do it in a positive way. If you don't like the way they're posing, just say, "Okay, great, let's try this really quickly," and then be encouraging in that. I just think if you're gonna be a very successful photographer, you have to watch your words. You have to really think about how you're coming across in situations, even if you're not intentionally doing it. So if you don't hear anything else in this entire video, just hear that your words really matter in the experience you're giving your clients or your couples. And the last way I will say, that rhymed. The last thing I will say in creating a really great experience is look to genuinely connect with your clients. I think now more than ever, people know when you're being fake. If you're too overly nice and overly complimentary, I think people can kind of sense you're really being fake right now. Be genuinely who you are. Be nice, be complimentary, but be genuine in your compliments. I personally strive to genuinely connect with my couples because I honestly want to be their friend. I want to be their best friend. So when on wedding day, it's your friend is coming to your wedding with their camera and taking photos. I want that kind of connection and vibe with my couples. That's why I say be genuine in your compliments and don't just blow smoke for the sake of, well, I need to be nice. I think when I have that mentality of, okay, I'm gonna try to make a genuine connection, I'm gonna make a friend today. When I have that mentality going into my photo sessions, it helps with the whole experience. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you have any other ways to give clients a wonderful experience, please leave them down in the comments below. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!